Salisbury. Two powers in athletics in North Carolina. The Rams and the Hornets set to do battle in the 4A men's title game. With that, we welcome you back inside Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum alongside my broadcast partner, Eric Gash. Jason Patterson with you. And Eric, you know a little bit about these championship moments. There is nothing quite like them.
Nothing like it, JP. It starts with tip ball in November and culminates with a 32-minute game to see who's going to hoist that state championship.
Well, think about this. We could really pick the sport and these two teams could be here, right? Doesn't matter. They've got that kind of athletic prowess because of the athletes they bring to the table. Let's focus in on a couple of those athletes now and walk you through our players to rely on, brought to you by Riddle and Riddle. Who do you highlight? Take me one side and then the other.
Yeah, looking at Deontay Neal, young man is going to UNC Greensboro. Averages about 36 points a game, 9 assists, almost a double-double. Everything begins and ends with that senior point guard.
That's true for Reedsville. When you flip over to Salisbury and you kind of want to pick a Hornet to highlight, you're going with Braylon Taylor.
Braylon Taylor stinging everybody and everything he gets an opportunity to at 18 points a game. Senior shooting guard is looking to bring home that trophy.
That's our Riddle and Riddle players to rely on in this one, though you're going to learn a lot about many of these players. I know you've got it narrowed down to a couple of things on each side that need to happen here, E. Give us your Ingles food for thought.
For Reedsville, they're going to have to limit the turnovers and get the offensive rhythm early. Get the ball to Deontay Neal, get in his hands early so he can get that scoring rhythm going. And for Salisbury, they have to control the tempo of the game, play sound defense, and control that paint, JP.
That's the Ingles food for thought. That stands as the keys to the game. Speaking of the game, we're moments from it. The Rams of Reidsville, the Hornets of Salisbury for a 4A crown in Winston next.
The broadcast stream of these championship games is brought to you by Tip Top Roofing, Faith Family Roofing.
Reedsville and Salisbury starting lineups have been announced. A few awards have been handed out. The main award still to be handed out. That's a state championship trophy. There's only room for one. Will it be the Rams or the Hornets? Let's go ahead and take a look at the Rams starting lineup. Going to be Neal, Coughlin Jr., Galloway Jr., Tynes, and Ingram, the Tatum and Atkinson starting lineup for Reedsville.
You know, I'd like to highlight Coughlin Jr., number 2. In their championship, Eastern Championship game, he scored 27 points. So we can look for a big night from that young man tonight.
See if he can roll it over into the state championship environment. We look at the starting lineup for the Hornets of Salisbury: Perkins, Taylor, Ross, Green, Smith leading them to the charge.
And once again, looking at Perkins, this young man scored 12 points, had about 5 rebounds in their championship game. So looking for the role players, JT, to play a huge role in this championship matchup.
just about ready to tip it off. A 4A title to be handed out. This is a primetime game on Friday night. Something about Friday night in high school sports, right, Ian?
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Championship night. And these young men have worked hard all season, and it's going to culminate right here with this championship game, JP.
Two of the great fan bases in North Carolina have packed Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum on this night, ready for action, and the ball is just about to go in the air. One game remains in the 4A season, and we are underway between the Hornets and the Rams. Salisbury controls the tip. First possession of the basketball game will belong to the Salisbury Hornets. Good movement inside, a little turnaround, trying to get it all the way down low. It was there, but a little bit too strong on the delivery from Smith. Here come the Rams.
Yeah, something you really have to control in these championship games, JP. It's going to be your emotions, the adrenaline, and what do you do with all that pent-up energy that you've been storing all day waiting for this game?
Yeah, you can say you crawl off the bus ready to go, but there's a lot to handle in a state championship environment.
It certainly is. You want to keep things as normal and regular as you possibly can to make sure that these young men play at their highest capability.
You know what's not normal? Depth perception in this building. You know what else is not normal? Length of this floor. There's a lot to contend with in a game like this. How about this battle underneath? And Tynes tried to put it back. Somehow it ends up in his hands. Third time it won't go. Away to the Hornets.
I love the big fella Tynes. He's getting after it, and that's going to have to happen when you control the paint, JP. It gives you a lot of second chance opportunities.
And your point about how different this environment is, we're reminded of it in the fact that neither team could score right away. It's a little tougher here right away.
It is, and you mentioned depth perception. The goal looks different. The backdrop looks different. Once again, you're controlling your adrenaline, your emotions. Everything is going to take these first couple of minutes to settle in, but best believe these guys will.
Nice feed underneath and trying to find a window to shoot, but it is not there. Too many white jerseys. The Hornets swarm and turn it aside. Put on the floor, through the paint, too strong off the window, and here come the Rams.
Yeah, Salisbury's doing a good job getting back on defense as well.
Well, that was a three from the Wake Forest logo. Almost went. Our initial look at a potential Paramount auto three-pointer is a little too strong. And finally, everybody gets to catch their breath as we slow it up a bit. Lids on the buckets so far.
It seems so, and you have to breathe, right? That's something that you kind of forget when you're playing these games. You just breathe, relax, and play your game.
Top of the key, and that's a good roll, but it rolls right off the front of that iron. Still nothing on the scoreboard.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to draw first blood here with the first basket, JP. You can see that Neal, number one, he's in range as soon as he steps in the gym, averaging 36 points a game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The senior point guard, something special. He is the 2025 North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year in the building on this Friday night. You know, you talk about it, you can prepare for it for a lifetime. You can talk about it for a full season, dating all the way back to the summer. But when you get here and the ball is in the air, a completely different animal.
It certainly is, and you can see right there that there's a lot of tension. You're swarming the ball, and it's like, oh my God, what? Because you don't want to be the one to make a mistake, albeit mistakes happen. You don't want to be the one to make that mistake, JP, and it's going to take these young men just settling down and playing their game.
Sometimes that first bucket will help settle you down. Yep. Coach Ross looking for one right now. He and Coach Perkins, his counterpart on that Hornets bench, both hoping something will fall their way. But that first bucket hard to come by. We're now nearly 3 minutes into this thing, and nobody's been able to find one. There was Neal. They're guarding him closely. Leaves a window for Galloway Jr. It won't fall for him. Back into the hands of Neal. He attacks, and it is disrupted.
Salisbury is playing a great game of controlling that tempo, JP.
Out front to Ross. He gets it to Perkins. Guess what? First bucket going to belong to the Hornets.
And one, it looks like the young man Perkins. Once again, he had 27 in that championship game, and he's making his statement right now, JP.
Getting ready for three the old-fashioned way. You know what they're going to love most about him? He's just in his freshman campaign.
He is amazing. Amazing. This young man has a bright future ahead of him. I'm sure they're thinking to Salisbury, just stay here. You know that he may look to move around or go to another prep school or something like that, but we hope this young man stays right there.
Royce Perkins, who, by the way, also was honored before the game as the Sportsman of the Year, the Farm Bureau Sportsman of the Year, which tells you what kind of young man he is off the floor as well. And he has the first 2 points of the basketball game on either side.
Great defense by Salisbury there. They're playing right into their hands. The game plan is to control the tempo of the game, and another and one opportunity.
Didn't we just see this?
You just saw it.
Perkins with a bucket, and he's going to the line for more. Here come Tatum and Atkinson free throws off this effort.
Yeah, Perkins is just saying, hey, I'm going to control the tempo. I'm taking it to the basket. He plays through the contact, and one. He's letting everybody in the building know that's an and one.
Well, with the name Hornets across your chest, or certainly a Hornet on your chest in this case, they're living up to the moniker. They're swarming to the basketball so far in this one.
They certainly are, JP, and that was one of the keys to the game, was control the tempo of the game, play that sound defense, control the paint, and force Reedsville into slowing the game down. Reedsville averages 80 points a game.
This time Perkins made the Tatum and Atkinson free throw, so the and one is paid off, and it is 5-0. Well, it's 5-0 Royce Perkins right now.
There you go. And once again, basketball is it's a game of runs, putting runs together. Right now, Salisbury's playing well on defense. They're getting some quick buckets out front, and there he is, number one.
Just takes one.
There you go, that's all it takes.
3-ball from Deontay Neal. There is the Gatorade Player of the Year, and he has our initial Paramount Auto three-pointer of the evening. You can check him out at ParamountAuto.com.
Yeah, once again, that young man is in range as soon as he steps in the building. That's some pressure defense right there.
Get the 5-second call. Will break away. First stoppage in Winston. Salisbury with a slight advantage in the early going in a highly anticipated battle with Reedsville for the 4A crown. Reidsville and Salisbury, two of the premier athletic locations in the state. And you can see them on our Original Grills fan cam. Elevate your grill game. Original Grills sponsors are a fan cam. They're telling you they want to see these guys wearing rings when the night's done. There's certainly a banner going to be handed out, a trophy headed somebody's way. And you see how much enjoyment there is on a Friday night in Winston on the Original Grills fan cam. Look at Albert Perkins, the Salisbury head coach. We showed you Jason Ross a moment ago. Both these gentlemen with their work cut out for them tonight. You can best believe it, JP, and they prepared their teams for it. Just talking to them during the timeout, I'm sure, just control your emotions, run the offense. If you're Reedsville, you want to get that fella right there in his groove. Ball off the mark, but it looked like that went off the fingertips of Blake Smith, so it'll stay with Reedsville. What's the value if we get a substitution here? Should tell you Jaden Jones, the junior's coming into the game. What's the value of that first time out, just for everybody to catch their breath? Yeah, it gives the coach an opportunity to say, okay, fellas, we've been here. You see the rim, you hear the crowd, you see all the action going on around you. Now let's settle down, settle into our game plan, and play basketball. Coach Cantwell was talking a little bit earlier tonight. This is laid in beautifully by Jordan Robinson, one of the first off that bench, the junior wing, getting his name in the scorebook right away. Coach Cantwell was talking about the length of the floor being a difference maker, that where you start your defense may be the biggest adjustment because the timeline, the three-point line, it's not where you're used to it being in a high school gym. And your wind, your lungs, it's gonna cost a little bit more energy running up and down this longer court. Everybody dealing with it though. We'll see who handles the adjustments best. Quickly up the floor with it, Cawthon Jr. That's grabbed out of the sky by Robinson again, saves possession, and now we get a whistle. Have not yet introduced you to our officials. They are out of the Boone region of North Carolina. Jeremy Gay, the referee. Irv Green, joined by Todd Badgett. and Daniel Brinkley is the alternate official, and we talk about it a lot. These officials have been given the honor of calling this game. This is the one game they get to call this weekend as a payoff for great work all season long.
Yeah, and it's a testament to them. They're fair, they're balanced. You know, they call a clean game to let the players play.
Players are doing just that. Certainly the case for Ingram inside. Mario Ingram, the junior, with a bucket.
There you go, settling in. And once again, Reedsville scores 80 points a game, Salisbury about 70. So Salisbury's going to have to continue to control, play that up-tempo, high-pressure defense, and keep Reedsville on their heels.
Blake Smith able to lay it home, and we got a player down. That's Ingram, who had just scored on the other end of the floor. That is a little shaken up, a little slow to get up here after the bucket by Smith.
Yeah, it looks like he may have bumped knees. You hope that's all it is. JP, you don't want to see these kids get hurt.
You know, we've called both of these schools in football over the years when we've been together for championship broadcasts. Don't look now, but there's a touchdown on the board both ways.
Go figure.
7 apiece with 2 minutes remaining in the opening period. A lot of life in this building, too. You notice these fan bases, they know how to cheer on a champion.
That's right. They're well-versed in championship games, whether it be in football, basketball, even baseball. They've won a lot.
They know a lot about it. That's an over and back as it was thrown into the back court. So it will be Hornets basketball on the far side. What do you like that you've seen so far?
I like the defense from Salisbury. You know, they had to come in with the game plan. You don't want number one, Neal, to get hot and to get him going, and you're going to work him on both ends of the court. You're going to attack him and make him move his feet on defense and take some of the pressure off of you defensively when he's coming down the court.
And here he comes. Boy, that went everywhere but down for the Hornets that time. And here is Neal. What will the Gatorade Player of the Year opt to do? Corner three. Trying to match his jersey number. Galloway Jr. sees it rim off. Coffin Jr. gathers his own shot back up. Can't get it to go. But this is not the first time we've seen Tynes battle inside. And it's like there's a lid on the bucket at times. Won't go down through the twine.
I love seeing the big fella get after the boards, man. It reminds me of the round mound of rebound of Charles Barkley. I love it.
And Ross kicks it up top. Green shot won't go. There's the putback. And Smith will go to the line. He draws contact with just under a minute to play in the opening stanza.
Yeah, and Smith is he kind of looks like J.R. Reed, you know, from that perspective. The guy played at Carolina a long, long time ago. But this young man is going to have to be big on those boards and control that paint and box out so he's not having to battle with Tynes too much in the middle.
That's quite a comparison from a North Carolina
There you go.
Now, you played in the state championship at the Dean Dome, am I right?
I did.
Talk a little bit about the memories that last a lifetime from a day like this.
I remember the smells. I remember the locker room. I remember the warm-up. I remember every single thing about it. And these are memories that they're going to keep for a lifetime. Not just them, the cheerleaders, the extended community with the teachers, the fans, everybody. They're going to remember this.
It's a community trip, that's for sure. A community effort when you get the job done on a day like this. Final minute of the opening period, and a whistle out top. That's going to be a foul called on Jaden Jones. They're whistling the junior for the first time here with 48.2 to go. Actually, check that. That's going to be 2 on Jones. Both fouls have gone his direction for the Hornets so far. That 3 won't go. Big-time rebound for Ross.
Yeah, you got to be thinking if you're Salisbury, things are going right as you plan, throwing a whole lot of bodies at number one and doing that on the other end of the court.
I think that was on the script as well. A Paramount Auto 3-pointer knocked down by Blake Smith. He can score from within and without. 3 the old-fashioned way earlier. 3 the newfangled way here. And there he is again. Tynes fighting for it. Snatched out of the sky eventually by Perkins.
He's just got to keep at it. Those shots will start falling here in a little bit for him.
And that's front of the rim. Final seconds of the first. 3 ball from the corner. Iron too strong. Time to put it right back. Just ahead of the horn. For Jordan Robinson, the junior lays one home, and that's going to pull him within 1. What a quarter of action to begin things. These two combatants in the 4A ranks off the bus, ready to play. More of our coverage from Riddle and Riddle coming your way as the second quarter begins on the other side of the break. First quarter numbers on the screen for you, brought to you by Arthritis Knee Pain Center. Our Arthritis Knee Pain Center stats come with a reminder that they provide relief without surgery or opioids. That's Arthritis Knee Pain Center. What jumps off the stat sheet at you?
I look at the rebounds right there, 16 to 8. That's double the amount of rebounds for Reedsville, and that's the big fella Tynes hitting the boards and giving them second and third chances on the offensive end.
Well, his work's been done in the paint. Here's how it's worked out in the paint numbers-wise. Our in the paint, ready-to-roll numbers. Brought to you by Ready to Roll Garage Doors. Call Raleigh's Garage Door experts today, ready to roll. And we're ready to roll into the second quarter of action. This Reedsville team that defeated defending 3A state champion Ben L. Smith along the way this year in the MLK Classic at Reedsville, worked their way here through a talented and challenging playoff run. Same thing could be said for Salisbury. They won the Christmas tournament at Catawba, had that entire playoff run, highlighted by the last-second shot at LR to bring them here. They're here now and separated by a single point as we wade into the second quarter. What'd you notice in that first period that you take away? Well, one thing I noticed, they'll shoot it from anywhere. What else you got on your bingo
Number
card
one
right
will
now?
shoot it. Man, he was from the logo almost.
Yes, he was.
And that's what you're going to have to do is to get in that range. Because, you know, one of the keys to the game was to get him in rhythm early. Get him seeing the ball going through the basket early, because scores like that, man, they're going to get theirs.
So far, 1 of 5 from the field in this contest personally. And as a unit, his crowd, 4 of 19. On the other side, Salisbury, 4 of 11 in field goals, as you saw through one period of action. So that's kind of how they're shooting it thus far. But that first quarter always sees the numbers skewed a little bit. They weighed in a little more here in the second. He tries one from a floater in the lane that won't go. And now the Hornets have it again. What were your other takeaways from the first quarter?
Yeah, the defense from Salisbury. They're saying, all right, number one's not going to beat us. And they're keeping him in check. They're playing it's like a 3-2 zone, and they're protecting that three-point line. And, you know, they're giving up some size on the inside, but they're doing that on the other end, and that's going to keep them in this game.
That was your player to watch, Braylon Taylor. He's a Catawba commit. Taylor making some noise here at the 6:45 mark. The lead goes to 12-9. The extent of one possession, the difference right now. Here's Neal. Boy, every time Neal touches the basketball, you see white jerseys converge.
They swarm on him like hornets, like we talked about. And that's what they're going to have to do. In order to win this basketball game, they're going to have to keep Neal in check. He scores 36 points a game, JP. They're going to have to keep this young man under wraps, because as we've seen, he will launch it from the logo.
Darius Green into the contest for Salisbury. And freshly into things, putting this one up, Jordan Robinson on the Reedsville side. And Robinson going to earn his trip to the charity stripe. The see-through construction free throws are coming.
Yeah, I love the challenge. You know, he's going right at the big man, Blake Smith. He's going right into his chest, and we have to watch those fouls. Right now, nobody's in foul trouble, but they're going to have to keep an eye on that, especially for the big fellas in the middle.
First shot rattles down. He connects on the see-through construction free throw. Reminder, at the half, we're going to have the Air Experts Heating and Cooling Halftime Report. You'll hear from Q Tucker, the commissioner of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. First half highlights, stats, a whole lot more coming your way. Air Experts, schedule your tune-up today at airexperts.com, sponsors of our halftime report. The second of those see-through construction free throws off the mark, and here come the Hornets.
Yeah, I love it. They're playing, they're controlling the tempo, they're playing their game, hitting the boards when they need to, and making them pay. That was a great retake there by number 5.
He'll tell everybody that was a pass, right, to the interior, and Darius Green was there. He earns the trip to the line.
There you go. I love the young fella. You know, and they'll teach him, keep that ball high. He's a junior at 6'3", that wing player, but he's hitting those boards hard, and that's going to be the difference in this game, JP.
He knocks down the first see-through construction free throw. See-through construction, your contractor of choice on the OBX. See-through construction sponsoring our free throws here in this second quarter. And the roll not there. The rebound is Smith. Makes it a possession after all for Salisbury. Taken away by who else? There's Neal.
There you go. Neal is going to have to see the ball go through. Quick as a cat.
He found another gear coast to coast to lay it home.
My. Like he wasn't even running that hard. You know what I mean? And he just weaved his way through the defense for the easy bucket.
That's how you end up with the Gatorade symbol by your name.
Exactly right.
Deontay Neal, a snapshot of just what he brings to the table on that last sequence. Pulls Reedsville to within 1. Boy, this game being played in a tight window here in the first half. 5 seconds going to be the call. We got subs coming. That's going to be Ship coming into the game. Nasarima Ship, the senior, into the contest for Salisbury. And not alone, Tyson Broadway, a junior guard, also going to enter for Reedsville.
Yeah, I can't see Neal coming out too much for Reedsville. And if you're Salisbury, you want to keep the defenders fresh and running at Neal.
Well, you know what the thought process is for Coach Ross and company. Neal can rest in the offseason.
That's right.
It's coming after this game one way or the other. I think Mr. Neal would tell you he feels exactly the same way personally. He'll stop and go for it just outside the elbow. That won't fall. Into the hands of Taylor.
Reedsville's getting a lot of second chance opportunities there. That could prove pivotal as the game progresses. But right now with Salisbury, they're playing, they're controlling the tempo and playing right into their game plan.
Well, you've been watching the game on the boards. It is a +5 advantage right now for Reedsville when it comes to rebounding. His team doing a nice job of crashing the boards to this point.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. And once again, you know, you're going to have to slow down number 1 for Reedsville if you're Salisbury, if you really want a chance to win this game. This young man, he can light it up, but Salisbury is doing a great job.
Jonathan Ross works it inbound. Decides to go with it. Down the lane, left side, and this is going to be before the push toward the bucket. A couple of shots coming here. That's going to be charged to 12 Broadway, 3rd team foul, but you see the effort as he worked through for Ross. He goes to the line. He's got the see-through construction free throws coming. First one's good.
There you go. John Ross, this young man, can fill it up as well, JP. He had 12 points in the regional championship game.
One of the senior leaders, by the way. One of 2 seniors along with who else? But Taylor off that Salisbury roster in a leadership standpoint. Of course, Ship is that off the bench, talking about the 2 in the starting lineup there, of course, initially. You got Johnson off the bench, Fagan off the bench, a couple of other seniors as well. Little disruption right there. Perkins going to be whistled for the foul as he was trying to do something with that playmaker.
This young man is as quick as they come, especially off the dribble. Look at him. He's he almost played through that contact there had he not grabbed his arm, but this young man is quick.
When he decides to go, all the best.
Absolutely.
All the best your direction if he decides to go and you're standing there. It rims off. The first of the see-through construction free throws will not fall. And he's got another one coming. 4.5 left to go in the first half. And Neal, that's his 6th point of the contest as he knocks down this free throw.
Come with a little full court pressure. Salisbury handled it pretty well. Oh, the turnover.
Guess who has it? Neal pushes it up the floor. Beautifully handled. Coffin Jr. the finish, and there's Neal's court vision for you.
That's exactly right. You see why he was Gatorade Player of the Year. He's quick. He keeps his head up the court and is looking to get his teammates involved.
That was the first bucket for Coffin Jr. He's going to return the favor. Coffin Jr. to Neal this time. Same result.
There you go. This young man is like, he doesn't get tired. He's continuing to run. He's playing on both ends of the court, and he's helping his team win so far in this championship match.
He can distribute, he can score. It's the reason why he's the Gatorade Player of the Year. He sees it a go, and this is a whistle that will send us to our timeout in the second quarter. Just under 4 to play in the half. Reedsville and Salisbury trading blows in the title game. Several superlatives to hand out before the day is done. The Akeem Anastapoulo play of the game is coming your way. Don't scream, call Akeem. Dial 800 all sevens. That's the Akeem Anastapoulo play of the game. We'll also select the player of the game. Our Riddle and Riddle Injury Lawyers player of the game. When justice counts, Riddle and Riddle. And they will be the sponsors of our player of the game. Inbound with just under 4 to play. One possession basketball game. Hasn't that been the case the majority of the way?
It certainly has been.
Everywhere, and then down it goes. Braylon Taylor gets the roll, and he'll go to the line for more.
I love it, JP. They are attacking the basket, right? And they're running right downhill. Look at that. I guess that's a Euro. What do you call that? Is that a Euro step or Euro hop? Whatever it is, it's effective.
The result's an and one.
That's
whatever
right.
The case. Call it what you want. He goes to the line for the see-through construction free throw. You know, you look up, and just as it looked like Reedsville may be pulling ahead, all of a sudden, here are the Hornets at the line, a chance to reclaim the lead.
There they go, and there's Braylon Taylor right there, making his presence felt in the paint and at the free throw line.
Braylon Taylor getting the job done by knocking down that see-through construction free throw. Taylor already with 7 in the contest himself. 3.5 to go, opening half. It's been highly entertaining first half of basketball between Reedsville and Salisbury. Neal never shies away. This time the Hornets take it away. All the way up there and just laying it home is Smith.
I thought it was going to be a flush, JP.
I think for a moment he thought it was going to be as well, but he just lays it in for 2 points and a 20-17 lead. It's coming the Hornets' way again. Here's another look at this. It's working.
I love it. They're running the floor. They are creating the tempo, and up goes a big fella above the rim.
Taylor and company setting things up as Perkins brings it up the floor. It goes the other way. Here's Neal. He keeps that alive and lays it home. How about that from Deontay Neal?
That's next level right there.
Can't disrupt him.
That's next level. This young man has got the skill and quickness of a cat. Great body control. He recovers it and takes it for another bucket.
Seems to land upright just like a cat as well, whatever the situation you bring his way. Hornets looking to respond, they will. Nice one dropped home by Braylon Taylor. 22-19, look who's open on the other end. Quick to Galloway Jr. with a bucket.
And this is a game that Reedsville wants to play. They want it to be a track meet up and down the field. Up and down the court. And so Salisbury is going to have to control that tempo once again. Going right at him. There he is, number 3.
That's Braylon Taylor again. Taylor now pushing toward double figures with his work in this last sequence. It is 24-21, a one-possession basketball game with 2 and change to play in the second. A little push as Cawthon Jr. was trying to work his way to the interior. We're going to get a substitution whistle, and coming back into the game now is Jalen Johnson. Johnson, one of the seniors, standing at 5'8", one of the guards for Salisbury, and that'll allow Darius Green to take a seat. What do you expect from this last 2 minutes of the half?
Well, you know, with that substitution, they lose a little bit of length on the wing on defense, but they add some quickness with the fresh legs. And, I mean, yeah, they're swarming defense right now, JP.
When you go into that Hornets nest, it's every man for himself. This man doesn't mind. Deontay Neal once again.
Amazing body control. And once again, we see why he was Gatorade Player of the Year right there. Amazing body control and able to get that ball through the bucket.
The separation, just a single point once again with 87 seconds remaining in the half.
Yeah, you just don't know how hard that is to see that young man do that. And look at the expression on his face. It's always the same, stoic, but it's a sharpshooter because this young man is in range as soon as he steps into the gym.
And we appreciate it, Braylon Taylor. He kind of put the ball on his side for a moment. We needed to catch a breath as well. Everybody in the building needing to do so, particularly if he's going to do that.
Great footwork.
He knew it was coming. Taylor says, everybody just stop. I'm about to show you something.
That's right. Great footwork from the young man down inside the paint, getting another bucket.
Well, I think on Taylor, who in this contest has already reached double figures in the first half. 1 minute remaining in Winston in the first half. of the 4A title game. And that would not roll home for Jonathan Ross. 43 left to go. Neal tried one. In there with the rebound was Smith. He was trying to spin away out of trouble, and he gets fouled.
I love the battling. I love it, though. Tynes is making his case known for king of the paint. This young man was battling. I absolutely love it. I love seeing the big fellas up and down the court, JP, especially hitting those boards.
Fight it out. You'll probably see more of it as a part of the halftime show. We're going to have the Air Experts Heating and Cooling halftime report. Plenty of such highlights as well. You'll hear from Q Tucker, the commissioner of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. We'll have the numbers from the first half. They'll be looking at them when they reach the intermission in the locker room, and we'll give them to you as well. All that coming up as part of the Air Experts halftime report. To the line, see-through construction free throws coming. And the first one rattles out on Blake Smith. Smith in this one thus far, 7 points in the contest, which now sits at 26-23 with just over a half minute to play in the second period. He's good on the see-through construction free throw. Neal doesn't need much time to do good work. He's got a half minute to take for a spin. And a quick foul out top, going to be whistled against Jalen Johnson. I believe Johnson just picked up, well, that's his first personal, 15 foul here, and you know what that means. Neal's going to get a chance at the line.
Going to the free throw line, yeah. But I love the philosophy for Salisbury. They're throwing a defender at him. They're not giving Neal space. And once again, this young man is what, has 12, maybe 13 points right now. It's a quiet 13, it seems, JP, but they're throwing everything at him because if he gets going and gets in rhythm, lights out.
You just said it. That was his 13th point he dropped in on the see-through construction free throw. They're going to move Frankie Galloway Jr. into the scenario with 26.6 to go. And Neal knocks another home, giving 14 points in the first half.
They're full court pressure.
Broken by the Hornets. And it's going to be player control. They're going to call an offensive foul.
Yeah, just kind of got overextended there as Smith was going to the bucket. Great defense by Reedsville. But just, you know, stopping them and moving your feet on defense. And, yeah, just got that little push.
Makes that tough, too. That's a third on Blake Smith right there, so keep in mind that as we move forward into the second half. You got a sub coming as Reidsville is going to send Carson Dones into the contest. Dones in for the final 17.4 of the half. It is a one-possession game as Reidsville comes up the floor. Looking for the corner, disrupted. Boy, that was all Jones right there. Jaden Jones, the disruption. Hornets trying to hang on to it. Reidsville takes it right back, just ahead of the horn. A pretty good heave from an off-balance scenario. It had them on the edge of their seats here at Lawrence Joel, but it ended up running just shy of the hoop. 27-25 going to be our score at the intermission. Salisbury leading. What an entertaining first half.
It certainly has been, JP. Salisbury hanging in there with the Gatorade Player of the Year in Neal with the bucket right there.
The Air Experts Heating and Air halftime report coming your way next.
You're watching the Air Experts Heating and Cooling Halftime Report. Air Experts. Schedule your tune-up today at yourairexperts.com.
Well, hey there, everybody. Thank y'all so much for tuning into the state championship high school basketball games. Joining us is our longstanding partner all the way from Ingalls Markets, Miss Melissa Level. Melissa, are you loving these excellent basketball games?
I love it. What a great season it's been, and the best of the best is right here now on television.
Best of the best is right. Now let's talk about that longstanding and robust partnership between Ingalls and high school championship athletics. What all does that entail?
It's just absolutely wonderful to be able to connect with all the schools within our region. You know, we're in 6 states, and so we have Friday night lights with football, we do basketball, we have softball, even some Olympic-style sports, and we go all the way up through college, and then of course some minor leagues. But we just love that high school spirit and the fun with that. A lot of those players work with us. A lot of their parents have a shop at our Ingalls, so it's kind of like a big family coming to watch all of them play, right? So we love that.
We love it as well. Melissa, as always, thank you for taking the time to speak with us here today.
Thank you.
All righty. Let's get back to the game, folks.
You're watching the Air Experts Heating and Cooling Halftime Report. Air Experts. Schedule your tune-up today at yourairexperts.com.
Championship week is always a special time for high school athletics in North Carolina. Joining us now is NCHSAA Commissioner Q Tucker to talk about what this event means for student athletes across the state. Commissioner Tucker, Championship week is finally here. What does this event mean for the student athletes who have worked all season to get to this stage?
All of the teams that are playing this week are regional champions. And so they enter this week as already a champion. And now they're trying to, put that cherry on the top, so to speak, and go home with a state championship.
This year's championships feature 16 games across 8 classifications for both boys and girls. What went into the decision to structure the championships this way?
A couple of years ago, the membership voted to amend our bylaws so that you could have no more than 64 schools in a classification. Now, it would have been very easy to stop at perhaps 6 classes, but at the rate we've been adding new schools, we would very quickly needed the membership to amend the bylaw again so that we could have more than 64 teams in a class, or we'd have to go ahead and have more classes. So the recommendation to our board of directors was that we go ahead and go to 8 classes, and that would give some flexibility in terms of adding new schools.
How does that expanded format create more opportunities for schools and student athletes across the state?
Because we have more schools that are getting into the playoffs, than would have ever been in the playoffs, and they're able to make a deeper run. And that's exciting for those schools as well as for those communities.
For many of these athletes, this is the biggest stage they've ever played on. How does the association work with schools to prepare them for moments like this?
They needed to know, where your team will unload and how you get into the arena, what your dressing room situation will be like. Lawrence Joel Coliseum will be the largest arena they have been in for some of them. And so we just try to make sure that all the nuts and bolts are in place for the coaches to be able to share with the athletes.
When the final buzzer sounds on championship weekend, what do you hope every student athlete walks away remembering about this experience?
We want you to play hard. We want you to play to win, but we want you to do that and have fun so that you walk away and you think, we won, it was great. Or we were runner-up, but it was great. And I had a great time with my teammates. For some of them, it would be the last time that they put on that high school jersey because they're seniors. So we want them to go away with those memories that will last a lifetime.
Commissioner Tucker, thanks for joining us, and congratulations to all the teams competing this week.
Thank you very much.
You're watching the Air Experts Heating and Cooling Halftime Report. Air Experts. Schedule your tune-up today at yourairexperts.com.
Just a bucket separating Salisbury and Reedsville at the intermission, and who knows what the second half holds. Going to be fun to see how it all shakes out. And our pleasure to welcome you back by giving you a look back at some of what we saw in the first half. And Eric, it was a high-paced first half of action.
It certainly was, and there's Deontay Neal getting warmed up, playing on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, and taking it all the way to the rack with the finger rolls.
Take a look at this. Shows you what Reedsville can do. And that was a return of the favor from a long pass from him earlier, and nothing seems to faze him. Talking about
looking at the body control and how he can gather himself and then lay the ball up.
But the Hornets have had an answer for just about everything. It's been their defense really that's grabbed your attention, translating into these offensive moments.
It certainly has, JP. And, you always hear the old adage, defense wins championships. And that's what it's going to take, as well as a lot of that by that young fella right there seeing the ball go through the basket on the offensive end and shut down defense on the defensive end.
Yeah, Braylon Taylor was impressive. Here's how the numbers shake out. Our arthritis knee pain center stats heading into the third quarter of action. Relief without surgery or opioids. That's arthritis knee pain center. And what are you watching numbers-wise?
Yeah, you look at three-point shooting. They're both 1 for, 10 for 19, 10 for 31. Reedsville is getting a lot of looks on the offensive end at 10 for 31. So it's telling me that they're hitting the boards hard. And Tynes, the big fellow on the inside, is getting a lot of looks.
We also track the points in the paint for you. Here are ready-to-roll garage doors points in the paint. Call Raleigh's garage door experts today. Not much separation there. In fact, it mirrors the scoreboard, even if it's reversed the other direction.
And I tell you something, JP. Salisbury, I was looking at the keys to the game to control the tempo of the game and play that sound defense. And right now, with Reedsville averaging 80 points a game, they've held them to 25. Right, so that's a point that, we'll just keep an eye on as the game progresses.
So far, so good. We got the third quarter coming your way on the other side of the break from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Teams breaking the huddle, getting ready to hit the hardwood for one final half of action in the 4A men's season. This contest got underway around 7:30 or so. We're an hour in time-wise. We're a little deeper in than that when it comes to trying to win a championship. Just one half left to settle it. And the Hornets going to have first possession this time around. Taylor starts things off. He looks to the corner, and how about this true stroke? Jonathan Ross, the senior, drains a Paramount Kia of Asheville three. And before we can get the words out of our mouth, there's a shot on the other end.
Already coming down the court.
Here comes Ross again, and he lays one home from within. Ross from without, Ross from within. 5-0 run to start it for the Hornets.
And it's about runs, JP, going on a run. And that big momentum, whose side is it on right now? It seems like coming out of the locker room, Salisbury has it on their side.
That group's still swarming, but this will quiet them just a bit. Paul Cawthon Jr., the sophomore, yes, you heard us right, the sophomore with the bucket.
Yeah, Cawthon had a good game in the championship, the Western Championship. Looking to have another one.
Sorry about that. He matched his first half total right there with the bucket. He had 2 points in the first half, has a couple here to get things started in the third. Here he comes up the floor. If you're wondering about Deontay Neal, 14 points in that first half. He had an assist and a couple of steals as well. And on cue, he fires away from the top of the key, has it rim off, but it stays on this end. Looking for his first points of the second half. Won't fall yet. He wanted a whistle there, didn't get one. And Royce Perkins comes away with it. So Albert Perkins looking on, seeing what a good job he's done in this one today. Just underway in the third. Got to ask you about halftime adjustments in this one. What did you expect to see from these two teams? Well, first things first. Look, it's getting a little wild here. Good chance now we've got a gap. Walk me through your halftime adjustments.
Well, if I'm Reedsville, I'm saying, if I'm Coach Ross, I'm like, hey, fellas, we need to pick up the pace. And we see them coming out. They're running the floor a little bit more with Neal pushing the pace, coming down on offense. And Salisbury, it's like, hey, let's keep doing the same thing that we're doing, which we're shutting down on defense. We're playing the game at our tempo, continue to hit the boards, be patient, find your shot, take your time, and see if you can frustrate them a little bit.
Happening at the Tatum and Atkinson free throw line right now. Injured in a car wreck. Call the heavy hitters of Tatum and Atkinson, sponsors of our free throws in this third quarter. Advantage at +5 for the Hornets. It'll stay right there as these Tatum and Atkinson free throws won't fall.
And that comes down to the end game, JP. Those free throws, layups and free throws is going to be the difference in a heavyweight bout such as this.
Such a great point, E. Comes down to that so often in the state championship environments. Baseline's wide open. Can't leave Neal with that kind of space.
No, 5'9", but he plays like he's 6'2" sometimes. He's fearless. He's going to the basket with that great body control, great ball control. He needs to see the ball going through the hoop.
Reigning North Carolina Player of the Year. There's 18 in the contest, and here's a 3 on the other end to answer it. And there's a great look from Blake Smith again.
Speaking of ball going through the hoop, this young man is feeling it.
Paramount Kia Bashful three-pointer. Check them out, ParamountAuto.com. Neal slows things down just a little bit.
Yeah, looking to find some space, probing that defense. Ooh, turnover.
Taken away. Taking care of business himself. And one coming for Braylon Taylor. You know, Taylor charging to the bucket already in double figures from that solid first half, and he's got more here.
Playing pressure defense, playing through the bump, body control, laying it up. There he goes.
That's what a senior leader looks like for the Hornets. And he's got a Tatum and Atkinson free throw coming on the backside of this to match his jersey the old-fashioned way. And think about Taylor to this point. Mentioned the double-digit total in points, 13 of them. He's got a couple of assists. And he's pulled down 6 boards, all of them on the defensive end thus far. And he's good on that free throw.
There you go. Neal's going to have to find his range and start shooting. My philosophy when I coach JP, shoot to get hot, shoot to stay hot.
It's Coffin Jr. doing the shooting right here, and he's going to go to the line for an and one chance himself. Had to have it as well, Lee. When you look at the scoreboard, Hornets were trying to slide away a bit. This is a valiant, much-needed effort.
Yeah, good plan through the bump. The ball bounces off the top of his head, but you love the enthusiasm from these young student athletes. Good job, young fella.
Right back on the noggin. You don't see that every day. He will go to the line. Tatum and Atkinson free throw coming. And Coffin will hold steady at 8 points. That sets it up for an even larger trip down the floor. That would have been huge had Neal got that to go.
Pressure defense.
Man, screaming for the basketball was Perkins that time. Just couldn't quite get it to him in time.
There you go. They're settling down, playing their offense.
Taylor, nothing but the twine on a Paramount Kia of Asheville 3.
Throwing his name in the hat for player of the game, JP. Big-time players make big-time plays on big-time stages.
And that gives him a big-time lead. That's double digits now at 41-31. Tossed up into the hands of Taylor. Now they'll have potentially 3 in the other fashion.
This young man here is saying, come on, fellas, jump on my back, I got you.
Braylon Taylor's going to be looking for a 20-point contest after this effort, which will get him to the line.
Yeah, JP, what was interesting, he's running down the court smiling, looking at the defender saying, come on, young man, let's go to the rack. I love it.
knew exactly what the outcome was going to be, and the Tatum and Atkinson free throw, again, to underscore it, would give him 20 points alongside those 6 rebounds tonight. What a third quarter he's put together.
Yeah, it's looking like Reedsville may need a timeout here as his lead continues to grow, JP.
Twine only needed for this Tatum and Atkinson free throw. He's got 20 tonight, does Taylor.
Largest lead of the night for Salisbury.
If you're wondering, he leads everybody as well with those individual totals. Down the paint, boards clean. You said it, high water mark, and they're looking for more.
Right. Playing their tempo.
Might be a dagger type play right there in terms of the lead they're looking to build. And this is going to be out of bounds far side. Stoppage with 3:41 to play. What a job in this third quarter by Salisbury. They've outscored Reedsville 17-6 since the break as Braylon Taylor leads the way. Here's a look at our original Grills Smile Cam as we welcome you back to Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Winston-Salem at the state championships. And all the pageantry you would expect from a high school state championship game on the original Grills Fan Cam. Elevate your grill game. That's original Grills. And, you know, also in the building, Juke Harris. He's got to love what he's seeing from the familiar Salisbury Hornets colors in this building, right?
That's right. Point guard for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons is in the house plate at Salisbury. I'm sure he's cheering his team on right now, and they are playing inspired, JP, with a 13-point lead right now.
And so many of the athletes that have come through both of these athletic departments over the years looking on, no doubt proud of these next chapters being written. Hornets trying to pull away here in the third, and a mad scramble for it as Deontay Neal disrupted it a little bit. He thought about a three and now gives up the basketball. Teammate driving the baseline, and that gets the roll that Tyson Broadway had hoped for. The junior getting a bucket here in the third.
There you go. Got to get the role players playing right now, JP, because right now Salisbury's taking it to him again.
And that's going to be waved off. This is going to be on the floor. I'm with you. I thought, here we go again with another three the old-fashioned way. Instead, it's going to be waved off. It'll be a foul on the floor. Here's another look at it.
Yeah, Braylon Taylor playing through the bump, JP. This young man is showing tremendous strength and body control as well.
Well, with the new college continuation rule, there would have been no doubt, right?
That's right.
And we get contact underneath, and that's punched away. There you see the head man here for the Demon Deacons, sitting just to our left. Of course, a lot of tension on a number of these players, and their ability has certainly been on display to play for guys like that at the next level.
Yeah, and what a privilege to be able to play, before an ACC head coach. JP, you can best believe these young men know that he's in the building, and they're putting their best foot forward.
Coach Forbes not far removed from his team, picking up a W in overtime at the ACC tournament this week. Of course, you talk a lot about what's going to happen next level. Obviously, Deontay Neal, as we talked about coming into the week, had been a UNCG commit just down the road to Greensboro here in the Triad, but taking that off the table and everything on the table now. And you know what a fluid situation it is in terms of having options for the college game. And one thing we know, the talent level is certainly there for a number of these players, Eric, to make their mark at the next level.
Yeah, for sure. And we see it, and you just really pull for the young men as they're out here playing their hardest. The young men and the young women playing at the highest level of their division here in the state championship game. You just hope that they do well.
And you saw him bring it up the floor right now. What we've seen from him tonight, he's going to be quite a find for somebody somewhere, and he earns himself a trip to the line on cue.
That's right. You got to believe that he knows that the head coach for Wake Forest is sitting a few people down.
And a number of folks keeping an eye on him from all around the country. He, again, will be quite a find for somebody. The Gatorade Player of the Year a season ago in North Carolina, going to the line here. Tatum and Atkinson free throw coming for the reigning Gatorade North Carolina Player of the Year. He knocks down the first. Well, a reminder, we're going to have the play of the game coming up at the conclusion of the contest, brought to you by Akeem Anastapulo. Don't scream, call Akeem. You see the number on your screen, and he's a sponsor of our play of the game. Reedsville's Deontay Neal, just as we're talking about the future for so many of these young men, at the line, showing his ability. He's got 18 points. He's on the doorstep of 20 himself. You know there's already been a 20-point scorer in this game, Braylon Taylor for the Hornets. Adding to his own total this time is Jaden Jones, who lays one off the glass.
Yep. Salisbury pushing the pace in their own way.
It's a college three. That might have been an NBA three when all is said and done. Out front it goes. It's amazing when the line is on the floor. Sometimes you just spot that line. You may not know which one. Particularly with the floor length being a little different for you in a championship environment than a high school gym. Floater in the lane. Everything Braylon Taylor is putting up is falling, and that rattles home as well.
It's like he's shooting into a swimming pool. You know, everything is going in.
22,
this young man is playing.
You are correct. 22 points for Braylon Taylor. Now, you saw what happened right there. A whistle. And here comes the foul call. Look at this contact in the lane. That's going to be on Paganda. First whistle his direction.
I think they're going to be shooting here, JP. I think he's in the bonus.
Well, while they look through this, we'll remind you that the player of the game will be selected at the end of the contest as well. It's brought to you by Riddle and Riddle, when justice counts. Riddle and Riddle, the sponsors of our player of the game. Good candidates for that one already on both sides. You think about the 22 points for Braylon Taylor if it goes Salisbury's way when all is said and done. And then who can forget what Neal has done? He's now a 20-point scorer on the other side with one more bucket in this one, if things go well. And so many individuals who've made their mark on this one, candidates also. And speaking of making their mark, he goes for broke here, and then the foul's going to be called on Cawthon Jr. It's going to be a second personal on Cawthon Jr. It's been a little bit of a different sequence these last few moments.
It has been. It seems that momentum, Big Mo is a fickle thing, JP. Sometimes it's for you, sometimes it's against you. Sometimes he just kind of hangs out and, you know, see who's going to jump on next. But Salisbury is making their case, you know, to push for momentum on their side. As we see Braylon Taylor there making his case for that bucket.
Just when you think old Mo is a friend, so often it turns the other way. And here is Braylon Taylor again, 24, his direction. His team well out front as a result, and that's from distance. That was right at the start of the W.
That was
in the
from
Wake
the
Forest
W.
logo. Shots go down like that, you're working toward a W. Inside a minute remaining in the third.
You can see that Neal is trying to find his rhythm on the offensive side. Wow, that's a great take by Ross.
John Ross said, why not? And Neal trying to make something happen as he sees the separation just continue to grow here on the scoreboard.
Yeah, JP, they've averaged 80 points a game, and right now they're 38, you know, about half it. And so you see him, this young man Ross, making his case for play of the game as he plays through the bump up and in.
And kind of used that contact in order to put himself in position. Steadied himself, did the young man, to get the job done. Inside a half minute as these Tatum and Atkinson free throws for Neal become important. trying to get his team back in the thick of this. I'm with you. You looked at the stats coming into this one in preparation for the game, and you were expecting something in the 70s tonight. Instead, it sits at 52-38, and the 38 is Reedsville's, now, just now, reaching the 40-point threshold at the end of the third quarter. Three ball, answers it on the other end. John Ross down low, John Ross downtown. Doesn't matter.
That's right. Point over here, just maybe the Wake Forest coach and players, he's pointing at them, letting them know we are in the building.
He knows the contingencies here,
That's
right? And has a Paramount Kia of Asheville three-pointer to remember there. Check them out, ParamountAuto.com, sponsoring our trays in this game. And that was the fourth three ball that Salisbury's, it just updated, the fifth three ball that Salisbury's hit on in 12 tries in this one today. And compare that or contrast that, however you choose to take it, with just 1 for 16 from beyond the arc for Reedsville in this game.
Ooh, JP, and that could prove to be that in free throws. You know, back in the day, it used to be layups and free throws. Now it's three-pointers and free throws, with Reedsville shooting 1 for 16 and Salisbury 5 for 12.
I'm not going to give you the percentages on that, but you know kind of where that sits.
Yeah.
And the point is, if just a few of those had gone down, you're looking potentially at a different ball game.
Yeah, and all year they have gone down, but this is the biggest stage that they played on.
Gathered up. Quick turnaround ahead of the horn, and it's off the glass. Setting the score after three at 57-40. How about this third quarter for the Hornets of Salisbury? They double up the Rams, 30-15 in the third, to surge ahead. Look at the numbers from the first three quarters of action before we head into the fourth, and boy, the field goal percentage tells the story as we look at the Arthritis Knee Pain Center statistics.
Yeah, Salisbury's doubled them up. They're shooting 60% from the field, and Reedsville's shooting 30%. And most importantly, 41% from three-point percentage, JP.
Relief without surgery or opioids, that's what they provide at Arthritis Knee Pain Center. And here's our points in the paint, presented by Ready to Roll. Raleigh's garage door experts, ready to roll. You see, even in that category, and in fact, this was a pretty even basketball game at the half. Don't forget, it was 27-25 at the intermission, but Salisbury outscored Reedsville 30-15 in that third quarter.
And we're seeing it now. Look at the smothering defense that they're playing. They're not giving Neal an opportunity to have a clean shot.
When he does, ends up something like this, and the tie-up going to give it to Salisbury as the possession arrow is with the Hornets. Got a sub coming in for Salisbury as well. Blake Smith, the junior's coming back, and Tony Del Pagan taking a seat. We got a substitution for the Rams as well as Demarion Whitted coming into the game. The junior guard seeing some state championship action. Of course, the leader for Salisbury, 26 points for Braylon Taylor. It's in his hands right now. And Taylor, as there's a whistle, that's going to go against Neal. That's just his second personal foul, so 2 on Deontay Neal.
Yeah, and you see coming out of the break that Salisbury is pushing the pace, where Reedsville is trying to, get a full court press into it, but Salisbury broke it no problem. And, they're looking to, nice inbound play there.
Turnaround, front of the iron for Royce Perkins, who was solid earlier. Remember, Royce Perkins had the first 5 points of the basketball game for Salisbury. There's Robert Perkins looking on in delight with what his Hornets have done in this one thus far. Look at this putback. Second effort won't go either. Here come the Rams. Got to have something. Need a spurt at this stage as time is wearing thin at the 7-minute mark.
Yeah, this young man's got to get hot right here. He's got to see something going through.
Contact drawn. As the whistle is going to go against Blake Smith, it would seem. Let's make that official. Actually, check that. It's going to be on John Ross this time. A third personal on Ross.
That could be pivotal right now. Ross has got 12 points and 5 rebounds. And so this young man right here, Neal, is going to have to get something going, put his team on his back.
3 on Ross, 4 on Blake Smith when you're watching the foul trouble situation for Salisbury. And right now, Jason Ross trying to find something. The Ross on the Rams side of things at the helm of this program, trying to find something that can spark his team. It's likely to come, as you said, from this guy who does good work from the see-through construction free throw line. Your contractor of choice on the OBX see-through construction. And then a foul is called as there's a collision with Whitted, who came into the game moments ago. 7 minutes. How do you have to kind of chop this up in your mind if you're Reedsville right now, Ian?
Well, you can see that they're trying to push the pace with some full court pressure on defense and trying to run up and down the court as well on offense. And Neal has got to get hot. I mean, they've leaned on him all year. As we see, he averages 35 points. Coughlin Jr. averages 22 points. If he's not hot, if those two aren't hot, then Reedsville's going to be in trouble. They got to see the ball going through the hoop.
But you almost have to take it in bite-sized chunks at this point. Give yourself a benchmark. By the 5-minute mark, we want to be here. By the 3-minute mark, we want to be here. It happens one bucket at a time. It happens one bucket at a time.
It's going to be that young man putting the Rams on his back, saying, let's go, fellas. We got 1 game left. And we see he attacks the rim. Tremendous hang time. He's 5'9". He can hang in the air, it seems like, all day. Cat-like quitting his great body control. He puts the ball in the hole.
At this point, they've got 6 minutes and 40 seconds left in the season. He goes to the line for the N1 opportunity. A see-through construction free throw. Got to have them, every one of them now, and he nails it. Takes it to 12. The lead 12 with 6:38 to play.
Yeah, they got to get some stops, Reedsville, on defense, or at least try and turn Salisbury over, because Salisbury's playing their pace and their tempo right now.
Neal just hit the quarter-century mark, by the way, if you're keeping track. 25 for him, 26 for Braylon Taylor. Those two have been special for their respective teams.
They certainly have been, and here we go right now. We're getting down to the end game. Last 3.5, 4 minutes of the game, JP, is where you really, really need to hone in on your game plan, whether it be stifling defense, pushing the pace on offense. But they have to stop that. Reedsville has to stop that, or Salisbury is going to take this game.
I believe those were your 2 players to rely on, and here Taylor was involved in the assist as he created that bucket. I believe those were your 2 players to rely on coming in. They have been as advertised. That's going to go to the other end of the floor, and every possession difficult for Reedsville right now if something positive doesn't happen. That's going to be on Coughlin, and that's his third. So Coughlin picking up a third personal. And a 4th team foul at the 6:05 mark. 59-45, and a timeout taken by Reedsville to talk over the hill they must climb the rest of the way.
Yeah, and you can see Neal really trying to insert his dominance on this game by taking the drives, you know, and he's getting pretty good looks. You know, Salisbury has him well outside of that arch, and, you know, we saw it. When they're going the opposite with the way of the F from the Wake Forest, he's taking shots from the F. Coming back, he's taking them off the W. They're just not going in right now. But, JP, let me tell you something. If those shots start to fall, watch for Reedsville to make a run.
Yeah, could be the difference maker down the stretch. 6 minutes and change remaining. Plenty of pressure from Reedsville. Hornets breaking. Left side of the lane, and nothing contacted there, so will be Reedsville ball. That's a positive for the Rams, but they've got work to do.
They do. They're going to have to, you know, get half a dozen more stops, but they have to see the ball going through the rim on the other end. Neal has got to get that going.
Dones coming back into the contest. First and Dones. That inbound by Broadway, who looked like he was dodging a bullet there for a moment on that pass coming right by him. He may have heard the wind off of it. It ends up being a positive possession for his team. Cawthon Jr. makes it so. 12 again. But trouble is, that number 12, Jones, lays home a bucket. They can't afford to continue to trade him with Salisbury.
No, you're exactly right. They can't trade. Salisbury has too much of a lead for them to trade buckets.
Swatted away, gathered up by Dones. What a nice job to save possession momentarily. And Neal laying it all on the floor.
Love the hustle.
2-on-1. And the foul is drawn. 5:11 to play.
Yeah, Taylor playing through that contact. I love it. Take it right to the chest, took it right to the rim.
Braylon Taylor is on the free throw line. He has 26 points to lead all scorers. And with that see-through construction free throw, you can make it 27. Your contractor of choice on the OBX, that's see-through construction. Sponsoring our free throws. Into the contest, Frankie Galloway Jr. John Ross also into the contest as Jones takes a seat. And Reedsville looks up the floor. Closing in on 5 minutes to go. Cawthon Jr. He's going to attack. Little stop pop, a little too strong. Boards clean by John Ross.
Yeah, they're going to have to get some more turnovers.
That was disrupted by Robinson, and here's Neal to lay it in. Just like that, they pull a little closer at the 4:40 mark. Boy, nearly a turnover. You saw the eyes of Tyson Broadway get larger and larger. He just couldn't quite grab the handle before it went out of bounds.
Yeah, you're starting to see a little bit of fatigue. You know, some lazy passes there and good cut through the lane there for the Rams.
Timeout. And of course, the advantage at 62-49 with 4:36 to play. Rams utilizing the opportunity to talk it over. He's been talking it over with a number of folks surrounding him. There's the head coach of the Wake Forest Demon Deacons.
Yeah, look at that. He's just making his case known, just talking basketball. And you can, the coaches absolutely love it. Talking to some of his players right there, just into the game, watching. Sure, he's not coaching any sort of coaching, JP, but, you know, he's really in tune as to what's going on. Possibly he could be seeing some of these players on his team next.
And he coaches a guy who once wore those colors,
That's
right? His field general, his court general, his point guard, hailing from Salisbury, has to be pleased with what he's seen. We saw Juke Harris a little bit earlier tonight. Of course, Deacons successful in an overtime thriller at the ACC tournament a little earlier this week as they advance past the Virginia Tech Hokies. Of course, ACC tournament action continues. And, you know, connections to this building in that vein tonight as well. Dave Odom's name hangs in the rafters. His son, Ryan Odom, the head coach of the Virginia Cavaliers, now going head-to-head with Miami as we speak, trying to punch a ticket into the championship of the ACC. Just down the road in Charlotte, Clemson and Duke play a little later tonight for that second spot in the ACC championship tomorrow evening. Of course, we got a full day of high school championships coming your way, and a busy basketball weekend in North Carolina all day tomorrow as well. This guy's been busy. That's the latest of Braylon Taylor's buckets in this game. And he is closing in on 30 in the contest.
Certainly is. You want to have your biggest game in the biggest moment. This right here does not get any bigger than this championship game.
Well, you think about all the great players. You invoke some of those Demon Deacons connections and numbers, and you look up and you see the names in the rafters, and you think about making your mark with a 3 like this in a place like this. It's something these kids remember for a lifetime. That's the latest of our Paramount Key of Asheville 3s. I mean, you look up in the rafters, you got Tim Duncan and Randolph Childress and Rodney Rogers, Muggsy Bogues, Chris Paul, Howard. I mean, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
Those who made their mark on this Wake Forest program. How special for these kids to play in this environment tonight.
For sure, and to have their best game. And Reedsville's trying to make their case for it as they push the pace and almost an and one. Playing through the contact there.
Boy, the Hornets have had an answer for everything Reedsville has provided tonight.
They certainly have.
Timeout is on the floor with 3:31 to go in the 4A championship game. We'll take it as well. Hornets of Salisbury, they're closing in on it. Still a lot of basketball to be played here in Winston-Salem. Well, an advantage of 12 with 3:31 to play. Salisbury using a dominant third quarter. You know, Reidsville has won the fourth here, 12-7, but it was that 30-15 split when they doubled up Reidsville in the third quarter that has put the Hornets on the doorstep here.
And they are on that doorstep, JP. They're up 12 with 3.5 to play. They're going to have to keep playing that same defense. They've been playing that zone, kind of like a match zone and protecting that three-point line, because if number one for Reidsville gets hot, this game could change drastically.
Here is Ross at the line, ready for a see-through construction free throw chance. Ross, who in this one tonight has reached double figures. He's got 12 points, 6 boards, couple of assists, a block, and 3 steals. That's a pretty good night for this young man.
It certainly is. He's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. And the role players for Salisbury really stepping up. 13 points, 29, 11. Make it 14 points for Mr. Ross there. Doing a great job.
Got a trio in double figures. That'll get your attention right away. So playing a little, we're going to run off and hide and not let you catch us with Reedsville to this point. Neal trying desperately to make something happen, and that is last touched. So it's going to stay on this end of the floor.
Yeah, you can see it, JP. He's really working hard to get an open shot, chasing those loose balls, trying to get his feet set to shoot up a three.
Deontay Neal has scored 27 tonight. So pulled down a trio of boards along the way and served to distribute a handful of times. With an assist, 3 steals, and an impressive performer in this one. 3 just won't go. This will.
There it is, a big fella.
Jamming it home, Blake Smith. We may look back and find this was the exclamation point if the Hornets hang on. 2:50 to play. Certainly brought him to life here in Lawrence.
Yeah, you gotta love it, JP. Great look at Ross with the outlet. Looking up court. He's gonna bounce pass and rocking the rim, the big fella. I love it. Coming right at you. There's Neal forcing, trying to get something going, JP. He's played every second of this game.
And Neal going to be out there until it all ends, that's for sure. And he's got 27 as he gets ready to go to the line for a see-through construction free throw here. Whitted coming into the contest as Frankie Galloway Jr. takes a seat. And John Ross, having just picked up number 5, had a valiant night, 14 points. We talked about it. Had 3 steals, a couple of assists, and a block. And that'll do it for that young man. Nothing but his best effort in the state championship environment. Same thing can be said for Neal, who knocks down the first of the see-through construction free throws. Here comes his second.
And you hear the crowd coming alive. JP is getting down to the end game. 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go. It's about to get tight.
Neal makes the free throw. You can give him 29 in the contest. And despite his best efforts, Hornets remain in command by 14 with just under 3 to play. Reedsville fans trying to implore their team to rise up as well. Stranger things have happened,
That's
but
right.
you got to love Salisbury's spot right now.
Yeah, you got to love their spot because they're playing that solid defense. And once again, defense travels. I don't care what sport you're playing, defense travels, JP. And when you're tired and fatigued, all those wind sprints and stair laps that you ran, it comes into play right here, right now. And if I'm the coach on both of these teams, I'm saying, listen, fellas, 2 minutes and 50 seconds of all you have. Everything, lay it out right here, like these young men have been doing all year, but especially tonight.
What one of the coaches tell us earlier in the week, we talked about it a little bit earlier today, you cannot go any further. This is as far as you can go. Be your best in these moments. Well, here's a 3-minute sprint to just that with a separation at 14. You know, you can't help but look back at that third quarter. They outscored them by 15, doubling them up. The lead 14 right now.
Yep, that's right. They came out and they inserted their will on. They executed their game plan and made sure that number 1 wasn't going to hurt them. You know, you're not going to stop them. You try and contain them the best you can.
And that third quarter is the difference in the basketball game right now. Here's the inbound for the Hornets. They break the press. Green in the front court. Smith slicing through is Perkins. And Royce Perkins has got an and one coming. Remember, Royce Perkins got it all started when scoring was so hard to come by early. He had the first 5 points. He's got the latest as well.
Yeah, I love it. Big fella running the floor, just putting the ball in that square. It goes in every time.
We're wondering about his total on this night for Salisbury. He just added to those 5 for the first time in the contest. 2 more at least, as the front of the iron is what the see-through construction free throw finds. Just over 2.5 to play. And the lead 16.
Oh, wow.
It may be 13 if Neal can connect on the and one that's coming.
He switched that in midair with his left hand. Look at him as he's attacking the rim. He jumps through. That was almost Jordan-esque, dare I say, JP. Great body control. Once again, we're seeing this Gatorade Player of the Year doing.
Well, just look on his right shoulder there. Just got to look no further. You see the insignia. He's keeping his team in it with a 32-point performance tonight, but they trail by 13 with 2.5 to play. Timeout being called for. Hornets. Every possession key right now. Remember, no shot clock in high school athletics in North Carolina, so it's a matter of urgency for Reedsville to make sure that they don't allow Salisbury to play keep away here.
Yeah, the clock is not their friend. And, you know, being down 13 with 2:25 to play, JP, you can almost feel that tense time saying, hey, we got to pick it up right now. We've got to stop them, being the Hornets on the offensive end, and translate that in. I know you want some threes, but you got to see the ball going through the bucket.
If you had been told before we sat down here only one of these teams was going to get to 70, and that may not be the case, we'll see. But be hard-pressed to discover that Reedsville had been held down the way they were in the early stages of this game.
Yeah, and once again, it comes down to that defensive pressure. You know, playing that fundamentally sound defense, staying disciplined, staying in front of the ball, running through the passing lanes, boxing out on both ends of the floor, limiting those second chance points for Reedsville, and they've done a great job doing that.
25 to go in this fourth period. 70-57, and the Hornets out front with the basketball. Boy, nice movement through for Darius Green, and the junior. That's his first field goal of the night. Picked quite a time for it.
That was a nice floater. And that ball went halfway in for Neal and came right back out. He's doing everything he can to see the ball go through the hole, JP. Just not falling for him right now.
Dips inside, 2 minutes to play. Hornets poised for a celebration, and they keep on firing on all cylinders. There's Royce Perkins again. He's had a couple of buckets here in the fourth quarter. And it keeps Reedsville at arm's length. There's going to be a foul called here on Jones. That is his fourth. And with 1:45 to play, the clock stops with Neal going to the line.
Yeah, Neal baited him in on that one, JP. Pump fake, got him up in the air and just kind of leaned into him. And it almost went in. I mean, this guy knows exactly where the rim is.
And a short trip on I-85 may be all that's required with this championship trophy. You think about 74-58, things looking really strong for Salisbury right now. Into the contest, Chris Smith, a senior. Smith, that Farm Bureau Sportsman Award recipient on the Reedsville side. A little bit earlier tonight, we told you Royce Perkins was that for Salisbury. Both seeing action in the state title game. Taylor seen plenty of action in the state title game. And now trying to put this back up is Blake Smith, and he'll be fouled. 93 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, that's still hitting the boards, still crashing. I love the energy that Salisbury has had on the defensive and offensive boards all night, JP.
Well, it led them to a 10-9 separation after one quarter. They outscored Reedsville 17-16 in the second quarter, led by 2 at the half. Then it was a 30-15 split in the third, and the rest is history, as it's now 74-58 with these see-through construction free throws being taken by Blake Smith. He's good. Well, I say that, rattled out on the second, and Reedsville up the floor quickly. 90 seconds to play. Got to have some threes now. That one won't go. Put back will. A bucket underneath by Jordan Robinson. And the clock stops with 1:22 to go, but the math is very difficult now.
It is, JP, and once again, if Reedsville's not able to make stops on the defensive end for Salisbury is happy to continue to trade buckets because it means they're going to be hoisting that trophy in 1 minute and 22 seconds.
How about this season for Salisbury when you think about what they've been able to put together? This Hornets team this year coming in here 23-7. We talked about, you know, they were able to win the Christmas tournament at Catawba, the entire playoff run highlighted by, you know, it took a last second shot. Won't require that kind of magic here. It did at LR this time around. They have quite the celebration created with 1:22 to play, but the championship moment is the culmination of a pretty special year.
It is, and you know, you work so hard for it, and you start out at the beginning of the year. Like I said, that first ball tip is in November, and you work toward this time, this stage, the biggest stage in our state, you know, for this classification, 4A men's, and this is what you live for. These seniors will remember this for the rest of their lives, and the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, they'll fight to get back to this moment so they can make their own memories.
1:22 separating the Hornets. It's the right kind of mascot in this state, right? From what would be a championship. Quickly up the floor. Perkins, he gets the roll. Had one thing on his mind. Pays off.
Certainly was. They can't continue to trade. Yeah.
Well, high off the glass for Neal. He's just trying anything right now. And he's stepped on the out-of-bounds line. That'll be a turnover, going to be into the hands of Perkins and company again. as we're about to close in on 1 minute to play.
I love it. Taylor says, give me the ball. I want it.
Perkins pushes it into the front court. And that is a picture of what the night has been for the Salisbury Hornets as this one rolls home with inside a minute to play.
Yeah, you can almost taste it, JP, as they break the press coming down the court. Yeah, just a little alley-oop, unconventional, but hey, it equals the same 2 points as if it were a dunk, a layup.
Jaden Jones, he knocks home the see-through construction free throw to complete the three-point play. And it is Salisbury now on the doorstep of 80 points with just under a minute to go. This rolled out into the grasp of Neal. Neal has been what you would want tonight, 33 points in the game. And he tries to add to it. He'll do so from the charity stripe. As the foul. No, looks like they scored the bucket, so an and one chance coming. Let's give another look at this.
Yeah, just drive down the lane, playing through the contact. Little old school finger roll there for the young fella. And, you know, he's at the free throw line once again. High score of the game.
Royce Perkins said, you got to be kidding me. A lot of people around the state have said that with this guy on the other side.
Indeed, they have.
Over the last couple of years. Gatorade Player of the Year from 25, giving his very best effort in Carolina. But that is the exclamation point.
Yes, it is.
Blake Smith jams it home with just over 40 seconds to go, and the Hornets are poised to celebrate a title.
That was awesome exclamation point on the night. Great enthusiasm, great hops by the young fella.
Neal has 38. He may very well get to 40 depending upon what happens on this trip down the floor. But it's this group of Hornets making noise in Winston-Salem.
Yep, Taylor with the assist to the big fella Smith, the 6'5 junior, slamming it home right there as he hangs on the rim and gets a little excited for his teammate. Look at that. Yeah, I love it.
Swarming out of the hive from the very beginning in this one. The Hornets have Taylor with 29. 14 for Ross, 15 for Smith, now 11 for Perkins. That quartet in double figures in this one. And Smith with those 15, he's a board away from a double-double, and the Reedsville faithful stand to their feet as Deontay Neal is lifted from the basketball game with a 38-point effort. He left everything on the floor to the senior.
Yes, he did, JP. You can't fault him for that. You know, the emotions are just now starting to sink in.
And you know what you love? Salisbury fans on their feet applauding as well. They saw one of the great efforts in championship history tonight. It's going to come up a little short. This effort from Frankie Galloway Jr. on the Paramount Kia of Asheville three-pointer will as well, because Salisbury, with a dominant third quarter, is putting the finishing touches with this bucket from Jalen Johnson on a championship season. Final seconds roll off. State of North Carolina belongs to the Hornets. Salisbury, your 4A champions for 2025-2026.
Oh, you love it, and there he is. You see the former Salisbury point guard, now the Wake Forest point guard, Juke Harris out there talking to his team. I love it.
He's made his marks in their building, in this building, and his team, his teammates, his comrades making their mark in Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum now as well. It's a Hornets championship in 26. We'll be back for the trophy presentation, put the finishing touches on this one. 83-68 the final. Salisbury, your champions. The Salisbury Hornets were swarming from the very beginning of this one, but it was their dominant third quarter in which they doubled up Reedsville that allowed them to pull away for a 4A state championship. And Coach Perkins joins us now. First of all, congratulations on a tremendous night and a tremendous championship season.
Thank you so much.
Walk us through what you will remember about this group. What is it that made this edition of Salisbury's basketball team so special in your eyes?
Well, part of it is I had Braylon Taylor with me. He's been one of the main guys for 3 years now. It's great to see him, his development, the way he has grown as a young man, and then to do it on this stage. All the guys, man, Salisbury needed this. So it was just great that all of the kids over there, that group, that's a special group of kids, and they needed this. They needed this.
He certainly had quite a night for you tonight, and all the surrounding cast, everything you would expect him to be as well.
Hey, Coach, and I got to ask you, what's been the message for your team this entire season? What's been your main focus?
Stay together. The main thing is just we set our goals at the beginning of the year, and I said, stay together. You stay together, we'll do it. Whatever is happening, any adversity, stay together. And that's the way it's been. It's just hard work and effort. Hard work and effort.
Yeah, what does this championship say about the character of this team, Coach?
That they're a resilient group and can play any type of basketball and going to go on into life and do some great things. That's what it's going to say about this group.
What happens off the floor, more important even than what happens on the floor, but I know you're proud of them on both fronts. You mentioned how much this is going to mean to Salisbury, Coach. Walk us through what the celebration is going to be like when you bring the trophy and the banner home.
I can't even imagine right now. I know it's been since 1986, 87, since getting back to a championship and then winning it. I think the city's going to go crazy. I hope in a good way. In a good way, I would imagine that there's going to be a parade. But Rowan County is a great county. Salisbury is a great city, and I can't really even put it all into words right now.
Well, whatever your celebration is going to be, make sure you slow it down and enjoy it. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's the head man for the Salisbury Hornets, who, as Eric said many times throughout the course of this one, and we kind of alluded to early on, they were swarming, and I go back to that third quarter. Speaks to the character of this team that you were talking about, that they came out in a one-possession basketball game, outscored their opponent 30-14, and cruised on toward victory.
Yeah, you know when you're playing against the Gatorade Player of the Year, that defense is going to have to be paramount. You're going to have to focus on that, and they did it. They played sound, solid defense all game. They didn't give Neal an opportunity to breathe. They always had somebody in his face, and he worked for every point that he had, but he did a great job as well. But, you know, hats off to Salisbury, and they swarmed like their mascot, like the Hornets, and congratulations to Coach Perkins.
Yeah, certainly. You can tell what a guy he is and what a team this was for him this year. Let's look at some of the superlatives from this one. We begin with our play of the game, brought to you by Akeem Anastapulo, and you probably know who's going to be involved. You're going to see a lot of number 3 in these superlatives. Braylon Taylor with one of his better efforts.
Yeah, playing through the contact. He was our player to watch. This young man, he outkicked his coverage on this game. He scored, almost 30 points, over 30 points. Congrats to that young fella.
Might as well just keep the camera on him when we turn to the Riddle and Riddle player of the game. That's because when you look at his overall numbers, well, he was everything you could have wanted and a whole lot more. 29 points in the contest, pulled down 7 boards, had 4 assists, and stole the ball away a couple of times in his own right. He's our Riddle and Riddle player of the game.
Well-deserved. He controlled the tempo of the game. He imposed and enforced his will. If he's not scoring, he's giving an assist. He's playing hard on defense. He's attacking the basket. He's boxing out. He's getting rebounds. Congratulations to Braylon Taylor, our player of the game.
You know, you want your seniors to lead you when you get here. He certainly did that as a senior in this group. And Coach said the fact that he was able to be with him, one of the great memories of this season. He, Ross, the other senior, who put together quite an effort before he departed. Those 2 seniors in the starting lineup. You've got Ship, you've got Johnson, also seniors coming off the bench with Pagan. So many individuals who made their mark. Hey, let's take a moment and pause and tip our caps to Reedsville as well. The Rams with a tremendous campaign. You know, you're an East or a West champion getting here. We always talk about that. And it's a season you'll remember because you played for a state title.
That's exactly right. And they had on the back of their jerseys that Reedsville, #Ville made. It's title town. You know, if it's not football, it's basketball, it's baseball. They're always playing for state championships. nothing to hang their head about. They did a fantastic job to make it here and played an outstanding game.
No reason to believe there won't be future opportunities for those Rams wearing those colors. And now the attention turns to the Salisbury Hornets, who are about to be handed out their awards. And we're going to hear in just a few moments the most outstanding player, the MVP of the tournament. I mean, so many that were a part of this thing. And they're going to go down the roster here. And it starts with Jonathan Ross. You're going to hear Braylon Taylor's name, Blake Smith, Darius Green, Royce Perkins. Of course, we called Nasarima Ship's name, Marquise Sagridi, Quincy Woods, Jaden Jones, Jalen Johnson, Mont Green, Jordan White, Tony Del Pagan. That's the entire group. That's everybody that contributed at some point across the course of the year and across the way this season. And it takes everybody if you're going to have a moment like this.
It certainly does. And, you know, and we don't talk a whole lot about the coaches. We don't talk a lot about the administration, about the teachers, about the training staff. It takes a village to get a team healthy to this level to play in this game, so hats off to all of them.
Well, let's do that. The principal, Fran Gant, the AD, Carson Herndon for Salisbury. You think about the rest of that staff with Coach Perkins. He's put together Horatio Everhart, Gregory Tinsley, Kobe Funderburg. You've got the trainer, Olivia Meredith. I mean, everybody involved in making it happen from a standpoint of the positives that are necessary in order to will these young men on towards success.
And not to mention the mamas and the daddies that carry them to and from game practice and follow them to the games and prepare meals, pregame meals, postgame meals, all the AAU ball and the practice. Hats off to moms and dads all around that community that carried these young men and supported them to get them to this point to win a state championship.
We also talked to Azariah Walker, one of the managers, a little prior to the game. So many individuals who do so many things to make it possible. And a 24-win campaign for Coach Albert Perkins and his squad. This one going to be remembered for a long time. You know, when you got to reach all the way back to the 80s, the last time you were in this kind of environment from a basketball standpoint, yes, they've had other athletic success, but it's a special championship when you have to wait decades between them.
It certainly is, and you can just hear the emotion and the passion in Coach Perkins' voice, how much it really means, not just to the team, but to him. They have built memories, you know, for this entire season. They're going to remember it for the rest of their lives, and they'll always think back, hey, y'all remember when Juke Harris watched us win the state championship on his home court.
Yeah, these Hornets are champions, writing the latest chapter in Salisbury's history. You think about tremendous players like that go on to have amazing college careers that don't necessarily always experience environments like this. It speaks to how special it is when you can come and be a part of one of these. You've done that, and you said it earlier in the game, but it's something that sticks with you, with your family, with your community forever.
Forever. And, JP, they're going to get a championship ring 20 years from now. They're going to talk about where they were, what the sound was like, the bus ride over here, the bus ride home, the parade, as Coach Perkins talked about, if they have, and what it really meant to that community. And they're going to show it off, and it's going to be a point of pride and conversation for the rest of their lives.
One of the great historic cities in North Carolina. Presidents of the United States have rolled through there with law offices and other things along the way when you talk about their history. And it has been quite an environment for athletics as well, and this is the latest of the basketball glory moments for the Hornets of Salisbury. And you see these coaches and staff members now being rewarded with the medal around their necks, and it is a job well done. You talk about tipping it off in the fall, but think about the summer workouts. And we had players tell us this week in preparation for these games, yeah, when everybody else is going to the pool in the summer, you're working out, you're preparing for this. This, what you're watching, is the payoff. Here comes the head man, Coach Perkins, going to be awarded his medal. You could tell in the time with him, too, one of the great genuine individuals in this sport, and a well-deserved moment for him.
Congrats to Coach Perkins. Once again, you know, he's a leader of young men. They're going to remember this for the rest of their lives. They're going to have stories to tell their kids and grandkids, and it couldn't happen to a better community, a better coach, and a better organization than the Salisbury Hornets.
Well, they got a banner to hang. When they get back to Salisbury, that much is sure. Always interesting to kind of think about what happens on the bus with that trophy and that banner and some of those items that are priceless to the community. that is waiting to see it, those who didn't make the trip. If there was anybody left in Salisbury tonight, they'll be waiting to see them when they get there. Here's the trophy presentation. Team going to gather it up, and the faithful snapping those photos to capture the moments and the memories. All right, here's the presentation of our Outstanding Player Awards on each side. I think we've got a pretty good idea who the individuals are going to be in this case.
Please welcome from the Army National Guard representatives,
And
Sergeant Rose and Sergeant Thompson.
Pleasure for these young men as well. Some true American heroes, those who defend the country at home and abroad, to hand out these awards on behalf of the state of North Carolina and the North Carolina High School Athletic Association.
The Reedsville Rams was number 1, Deontay Neal.
You might have suspected his name would be called in this instance. 38 points when he was finally pulled off the floor to an ovation from both sides in this one. Deontay Neal, the reigning Gatorade Player of the Year, is going to have a little more hardware to go in his trophy case.
I'm sure he's got 1 or 2 trophies that line the walls and trophy case of his home, JP. But yeah, he's got a bright future ahead of him at the next level.
And he battled tonight in terms of basketball, at least, when you see that image of him on the screen. Guy who's going to be interesting to see where he lands. We said it, had that commitment to be close by in Greensboro, taken off the table, we're told, perhaps this week. So it'll be interesting to see how things shake out in his future. Quite a future, great potential. Here's Jonathan Ross. You remember the day he put together. He's going to join, no doubt, Braylon Taylor as the 2 seniors in the starting lineup who are recognized here.
Yeah, and well-deserved. He played his heart out. He shot threes. He hit the boards. He's dishing out assists. So good job for that young fella, Mr. Ross.
Well, here comes the announcement of the most valuable player in this tournament. In memory of Charlie Adams, the director of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, has this honor named for him.
It's from the Salisbury Hornets, and it's number 3.
No real drama here. The senior Braylon Taylor will walk toward the table to accept his MVP award.
Well earned. That young man played his absolute heart out. Good job. Congratulations to Braylon. He was our player to watch, and we watch this young man lead his school to a state championship.
It was awful fun to watch these 2 players to watch in this contest tonight. One more look at the numbers for you. Our Arthritis Knee Pain Center final stats. Arthritis Knee Pain Center, relief without surgery or opioids. They'll take care of you, and they took care of business on this floor tonight, these 4A combatants. The numbers speak for themselves.
They sure do, and the most important number is that one at the top, the score. Salisbury took it home 83-68 over the Reedsville Rams.
And one final look at our ready-to-roll garage doors. Points in the paint. Call Raleigh's garage door experts today. They're ready to roll. These teams were 50-42 the split. Salisbury winning that category like so many categories as they claim the state championship this season. Big thank you to all of our sponsors, Riddle & Riddle Injury Lawyers, Air Experts Heating and Cooling, Tatum & Atkinson, See-Through Construction, Ready to Roll Garage Doors, Arthritis Knee Pain Center, Hakeem and Astapulo Law Firm, Paramount Auto, Tip Top Roofing, Original Grills, and Ingalls Markets. From our broadcast partners today, Eric Gash, Kevin Cantwell earlier, for everybody working hard for you in the truck here in Winston and beyond. Jason Patterson saying, hope you've enjoyed your Friday. A lot more championship basketball coming when you see you at high noon tomorrow. Tonight, it's the Hornets taking the state of North Carolina by swarm.
Ever since my boots first hit these streets, had to scratch and claw